Hello, I'm Josh Paulison, and this is Inspector Josh Investigates TV, where we reverse engineer TV shows to draw story writing lessons from them. Today we're going to look at Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Season 1, Episode 20, titled Fancy Brudgom. Warning, spoilers for this episode are ahead. Today we're going to look at the broken team. Teams don't just break. There's a process and several different pieces that can be handled separately. Here's what I mean by that. So there's a process of how teams break up, and usually you can break this up into 4 steps. First, there's unity, they're together. There's temptation, a reason for one or more of them to leave. You have the Moses, the person who ends up being the first to leave, who inspires others to also leave. And then you have the Exodus, where people start leaving and the team really breaks up. There are also 3 different pieces of teams breaking. You have them breaking in purpose, why they're doing what they're doing, breaking in support, their encouragement of each other to continue in it, and in action, actually moving along the same path and doing the same thing. Here's why this is important. We can combine these pieces to have more dynamic characters and more dynamic situations. And by considering the process, we can make sure that we aren't skipping things or that people don't break without good reason. Here's how it's displayed in this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We see the process first of the team breaking. First, they are unified. All 3 of them are together. Gina, Amy, Terry, they're all combined in trying to follow the same diet. So they're together at first, but then Gina is tempted by food. She has a temptation and she leaves first. Being the first to leave, she ends up being the Moses who also encourages Amy, or at least tempts her to leave as well. And then Amy joins, and so even though we have a team of 3, we can still see this process, that there's the exodus, the majority of the people are leaving. We also see the different pieces of teams breaking. Arguably, they stay together on purpose, which is taking care of themselves. Gina doesn't support them at first, but Amy and Gina support Terry in the end. But we see a breakage of action. Amy and Gina break in action by eating whatever they want, and that way they are broken up. So they may be sort of combined on purpose and then later on supporting Terry, but there's a breakage in action. Here's how you can use these techniques in your own stories. So number 1, in the process of how teams break up, watch how you break your teams up. There's some point of leaving for characters. Like, they don't just leave for no reason. Usually when a team breaks up, somebody's the first to leave, and they inspire others to leave as well, or tempt them to leave as the case may be. So use this process or consider it closely. When developing teams and breaking them, you can have more dynamics by having them stay together in purpose, support, or action, while breaking in 1 or 2 of them. They could be unified in purpose, but no longer in action. Maybe they disagree that the best way to move forward is the action they've been taking. Maybe a bounty hunter disagrees that the best way to take out a bounty is the plan the rest of the team is following, and so they strike out on their own. Unified totally in purpose, but not in action. Or maybe you have a team of students who are trying to win a competition, but they aren't collaborating. They're unified in purpose and action, but aren't supporting each other. Or you have a team of supervillains that supports each other in action, but not in purpose or support. They're each fighting against the heroes, but they each have a different goal in mind and aren't supporting each other specifically. Teams can build and break along these 3 basic lines. It's a great way to spice up your works, rather than teaming them up or breaking them up all 3 every single time. Recognizing these different pieces will help you have more dynamics in your stories, and will help you to have a logical process for your characters' teams breaking apart. Because hey, we want to have believable, connectable characters. And a great way to do that is to study how real people work and how things work in real life. And I can tell you I've seen these processes work many, many times in different situations. And I'm sure there's different ways you could approach this, but I think this is still a pretty good approach. And it's the approach that you can see playing out in this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So in this case, I'd say case closed. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with another episode next Monday. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Paulison or check out free resources at joshpaulison.com. Have a fantastic week.